So this is back when I was still studying in Japan. So it was the first day of school, and we had this small opening ceremony where the university head gave a speech and the rules and the regulations of the school. I don't know, I wasn't paying attention. But I did listen to the part where we'd be taking a small test to evaluate our Japanese, and it'll tell us which classroom we'd be in. So there were three levels. There was basic, intermediate, and advanced. Now, I wasn't much of a beginner since I studied the language way back in high school, so I applied for intermediate. But when I took the test for intermediate level, I couldn't understand a thing. I think it was because it had more difficult questions that I could have predicted, but anyway, I tried my best. So the results were in, looked for my name on the board, and saw my name on the beginner's class. Needless to say, I was disappointed. Even though I did my best, apparently that wasn't enough. But I figured I'd study even harder so I'd move on to intermediate class, so it didn't bother me much. After lunch, we start classes, and if you're wondering, did you sit near the window like every anime protagonist? Well, no. But I did sit at the back, mainly because of our seating arrangement relied on our last names. So, yeah, anyway, teacher started off with the most basic lesson in the language, the characters. Since I already knew about the basic writing system, hiragana, katakana, and kanji, this was too elementary for me. I should be studying intermediate kanji, but I was stuck with the ABCs. Nevertheless, I was the type of guy who'd go with the flow, so I just dumbed myself down to not act like some sort of smartass. Which didn't work since I got perfect scores in quizzes anyway. But while I was suffering, kind of, I met someone seated in front of class. Someone who, like me, probably shouldn't be in the beginner's class. For privacy reasons, we'll call her Chi-chan. Chi-chan. Okay. So Chi-chan wasn't your ordinary girl. She had that gothic Lolita style every time she dressed up. And you might think that because of that style, she acts like some sort of emo chick. But no, she's actually the most popular girl in class, which is why it was also kind of hard for me to approach her. Then one day, during one of our break times, while I was reading a certain manga, I forgot what it was. I think it was some shonen shit. I don't know. She approached me and asked what I was reading. Obviously, I couldn't tell her that I was reading manga, because then she'd probably think I was weird. She figured it out though and said that she liked that manga too. Then the bell rang, and then we went back to our own seats, resuming class. However, I couldn't concentrate in class since my mind was on the girl who approached me and didn't think I was weird. And given my previous experiences with female peers, this was quite a strange case. The next day, I was listening to some of My Hero Academia soundtrack, you know which one, when Chi Chan saw me listening to something and wanted to listen as well. That was probably one of the most awkward situations I have ever been on. I was sharing the other half of my earphones to her, and we sat together, and I was shaking, and I didn't know what to do and what to say. I just awkwardly listened to the track with her. The next day, again, she said she just finished reading the most recent volume of My Hero Academia. I think it was volume 14 or something. So she lent that volume to me and told me to read it because it was so good. And some days after, we watched the latest episode of My Hero Academia on our phone. But I couldn't concentrate because I had clear view of her thighs and I had to turn my eyes the other way to keep me from looking from it. I'm not weird, promise. It's just kind of weird. Eventually, we got close to the point where we'd walk to school and return to the dorms together. During weekends, we'd talk through line, that chat thingy thing, about the latest episode of a certain series. And it was a first for me because I initially thought that girls only like shopping or clothes or shopping for clothes. Then here comes Chi Chan, someone who likes shonen and idols and cosplay. And I would only learn more about her as time went on. So, during one weekend, my roommate and I decided to go to Nagasaki and buy stuff on Animate. If you don't know Animate, it's this shop that sells everything otaku related. So, there's anime, manga, DVDs, you name it. Then, while we were walking around, we saw this birthday shelf dedicated to Nico Yazawa from Love Live. Yeah, it was common for ordinary people to celebrate a fictional character's birthday here in Japan. Well, probably not ordinary, just otakus, but you get the point. We decided to write a message on the wall because we were degenerates who drooled over fictional idols. Just then, by sheer coincidence, Chi-chan and her friend showed up and saw us writing something on the wall. So they decided to write something too. It was then that I realized just how similar she and Nico looked. Same twin tails, same clothes, of like different colors, bright personality. It all just fits all too well that if I were to look at them side by side, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. So after they finished writing their message, they went somewhere else and we continued on with our manga hunting. So it was at this point that I started to wonder what my relationship with Chi-chan was. We both liked the same things, see each other often, exchange messages, and I wanted to figure it out as soon as possible because I didn't want to assume the wrong thing, nor end up like a dense person who couldn't take hints. Before I knew it, summer had rolled by. Now, most people would go to the beach and hang out with friends during summer, but I spent most of it in my room. I didn't want to go out due to the scorching heat, but during one lonely day, Chi-chan visited my room, carrying a whole cake. It was neither of our birthdays, so I didn't know who the cake was for. Turns out the cake was for Sasuke. Okay, so I have nothing against baking cakes for your favorite character, but I neither like nor hate Sasuke. I mean, I think he's a cool character, but he's too edgy for his own good. So, normally I wouldn't celebrate a mediocre character's birthday, but seeing as Chi-chan went out of her way to bake a cake for him, I just had to suck it up and celebrate it with her. Then all the talk about ninjas made me remember the river festival that the city had. I wanted to invite her to go with me and finally straighten things out, but instead, I just asked if she was going. She said yes. Then the conversation ended there. What the hell was that? How could I mess it up? I just wanted to invite her, but the words came out wrong. But in the end, it wouldn't work out anyway since the school needed volunteers for the festival and I couldn't say no. So it was the day of the festival, and me and some other students did some volunteer work. After we were done setting up some lanterns on the river, we were free to roam around and enjoy the festival. So my roommate and I walked around, buying candy apples and ramen and such, when we happened to bump into Chi-chan and her friend. At this point, I was beginning to think that these coincidences were actually conspiracies. But more importantly, it was my chance. My last chance to ask her to walk around with me. I was gonna do it. I was gonna ask her to go walk around. Just the two of us. I could finally confirm our relationship. And I missed my chance. Before I knew it, they were gone. There goes my chance. So I walked around with my roommate and still tried to make most out of the festival. When they announced that the fireworks were about to begin, we quickly went back to the river and prepared lanterns. Then we watched the fireworks and it was really beautiful. I made a whole video about it. Go watch that. I didn't know that my conversation with Chi-chan during the festival would be our last. Because the next day, I found out that she had returned home to her country. Apparently, her contract to the school was only half a year. She mentioned it to me once, but I didn't think it would be so soon. And so there went my only chance to actually have a romantic relationship. They say there's plenty of fish in the sea, but I doubt I'd find someone just like her. So, my advice to you, the watcher, is to take the plunge. Confess your feelings before it's too late. Even if they say no, At least you won't have to feel guilty that you never even tried. Take this story as a cautionary tale from one otaku to another. So originally this wasn't going to be a video, it was just me drawing stuff and then posting them on my Pixiv, but eventually I drew more every day and it got like very addicting and I just decided to make a video about it. So here we go. And if you like these kinds of videos, then maybe you could like it and subscribe so I can make more. It would help if you would do that. But yeah, that's all for me today. So, but I don't know how to make my outro anymore.